So in this video, we're going to move our project base point and rotate our um, plan or our project so that it fits better on the sheet. And so what I'm talking about is if you go to level one, double click on your project browser. Um, if we were to, don't you don't need to do this, but I'm just going to show to demonstrate. So I'm going to just create a new sheet. I'm going to load in our sheet. And again, you don't need to do this. This is just for an example of why we're doing what we're doing. So we have our sheet here. And so if I were to pull this level one plan onto here, it fits okay on that 1/8 inch equals a foot. But as you can see, if we were to make the scale any bigger, so like if we wanted our plans to be a 1/4 inch equals a foot, it'll be off of the sheet. And it would be too if it was rotated. But in some cases, it is better to rotate it so that it would fit better on the sheet. And so what we're going to do is we're going to rotate our project so that, in the future, if you have a project that's going to be too big, and see here, we wouldn't have a ton of room to add dimensions or anything else. So what we're going to do is I'm going to just delete this and delete this sheet. Again, you don't need to have created the sheet unless you wanted to see for yourself. What we're going to do is we're going to go up to manage. So this you can do. And we're going to change the position. And we're going to go to our manage tab and then project location and then position. And we're going to relocate true north. Oops. Let's see here. Sorry. We're not going to relocate true north. We're going to relocate project north. So let's turn on. So before we do that, let's go to our visibility graphics. So on the view tab or the project properties, we will go down and turn on our site. Go to project base point and survey point and turn those on. So we can see our project base point. If you select the project base point, it'll show you the true north and where we've set our project base point. And if you scroll out, you can see where we've selected our site. We can select the survey point and see where that is located. So what we'll do is we'll go back to the manage, we'll go to position and rotate project north. And then it'll bring up this window and it'll say rotate all model elements, model views, and annotation showing the drafting views. And actually, before we do this, let's open our 3D view side by side. So you can go to view, tile views, and let's just hit the top view of our 3D view, just so we can see what it's actually doing here. Then if we go back to manage, go to position, rotate project north, and let's do counterclockwise 90 degrees, which will put our west elevation where our south elevation is now. So we can go counterclockwise 90 degrees, let it grind. And here it says rotate project north command has successfully processed 676 objects. And here it just is showing some other error. These elements, they corrected the position for these things. So you don't have to open this, but this is showing you what it's actually doing. And so here you can see in our plan views, all of our plan views will now be rotated 90 degrees. So this, even though this was a south before, this is actually the the west view because our project north has been rotated. And you can see what happened up here. Our view cube, the north is still showing this, but you can see how the top is now switched, so that if we were to rotate up here using the view cube arrows, now north is to the left and west is where the south was, and this is our top view, so that you can see that we've now rotated our building. So if I were to go back here to go to view, sheet, and create another sheet, and drag that view on the sheet, you can see that it's rotated it. So now in all of our views, it will be rotated 90 degrees. So it'll be easier to place it on the building. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to delete that sheet. You don't need to create that. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the project base point. And I want to move this project base point. So we've moved it before. Now we can see the angle to true north is actually 90 degrees. And you could actually change that in here. But now now our building is different. So now it's put it's kind of reset this the where north is on our project, but we don't want to do that. But so I'm gonna undo that and just showing you here that the project base point is set to be 90 degrees from true north. And if you just grab and you just click and hold and drag, we can drag this project base point over here, and you can see it's changing this northwest south coordinates. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move it pretty close to this corner over here. And actually, I'm going to put it right here on that corner. But what I want to do is I want to make this kind of a round number. So let's make our project base point north-south coordinate direction an even 1,515 feet even. You can see it moved it. And if we were to select this again, it's negative 206. Let's just make that negative, or 206, foot 9 and whatever change. Let's just delete the end and make that negative 206. So that is where I want to set our project base point coordinate location. So what this will do is if we go up to, I believe it's annotate, and we were to do a spot coordinate, it'll show us where that is located. Oops. And then what all the other spot coordinates will be in reference to that project base point. So what we'll want to do is, I'm actually going to do this horizontal with elevations. So I went over to the project browser and I changed that to horizontal elevations. What I want to do is edit this instead of it using, so right now it's using the survey point for this dimension. So it's showing us the project base point in reference to where the survey point is. So if we go to edit type when that's selected and we change from survey point to project base point and hit OK, now it should say that everything is 0. So if we were to go back to annotate and we were to do a spot coordinate, let's change that to horizontal with elevations, and we can see that it's going to actually give us coordinates. So at this point, from this location is 9 feet and change, and 9'7" and some change. So it kind of gives you a reference point. So if you were to pull any coordinates, all the coordinates that you pull will be from this this location. So I'm going to select this project base point. And now we've kind of set it to some nice round numbers, and I'm going to pin it. And then what I'm going to do next is what I want you to do is this 3D view. I want you to delete it. And the reason is because we're going to recreate a new 3D point so that everything is visible. So if you've turned off anything in this 3D view, if you've hidden the floors or whatever, it will, when we recreate this 3D view, it'll basically recreate it with everything turned on. If you don't want to delete it, let's say you've done some stuff, you can just right click this duplicate, right click this 3D view and duplicate, and it'll create you another 3D view, and you can leave it as copy one or call it my 3D view or whatever you want to call it. If you want to save it, if you don't care about saving it, then I wouldn't worry about it. And then we can go back to this default 3D view and delete it. So the next thing we'll do is we'll come up here to the little house, or you can go to the view tab and click on this 3D view. And then it will give you a new 3D view with no section box, and everything should be turned back on. And then so what I want you to do is, if you left click over here in the space and window over your entire project here. If you were to hit the filter, you should see all these things, the curtain walls that we've created, doors, and everything that is selected. And which is what we want. We want everything selected, and now we can go back to your level 1 view, hit move. And I'm going to grab this corner down here. I'm going to grab this outside. Let's see if we can get it. Let's just pick this outside corner. And this should be the brick. I believe it's the brick. Let's take a quick dimension just to be sure. Let's see, what is that? That's actually the EFS layer. So I'm going to go to my view range. Oh yeah, because that's EFS. I was thinking that we had brick here. So let's we can right click and select previous. Oh, it's just, let's go back over our 3D view and select all the entire building. Hit move. We'll select this corner of the EFS and then move it to the center of that project base point. So our project base point will be at the corner of this EFS. And actually, I'm going to do something else here. I'm going to do, go up to our view tab. No, let's go to architecture tab and let's find reference planes. I believe RP is the command, shortcut command. So if you go up here to the architecture tab, and let's see if it's on any other tabs. Yes, I think you want the architecture tab. I think it shows up on structural tab too in the work plane setting, but you'll want to do architecture tab, reference plane, and let's just pick anywhere up here and then draw a reference plane. You want to draw it at 90 degrees. And then now we've got our reference plane going through that project base point. And let's hit reference plane again and come horizontal on the 0 or 180 degree axis. And let's lock these two reference planes. So we can pin them. So we drew our reference planes kind of lined up with this. And I want to select the building again, because I think what I want is not select our road, just select the building and move. I want our kind of our origin to be at the face of stud. And I was noticing you cannot really select this corner very easily, because I want the corner of this face of stud to be on the project base point that we just moved. So let's just select this outside face of stud. So it'll be the 6-inch stud that we're selecting and not the chipboard. So that, as you can see zoomed in here, this line will be at the inside face of stud. We'll hit move again, MV, or come up to the modify tab and hit move. And we'll take the bottom of the side and align that. So now that our project base point is going to be right here at that face of stud. So now if we were to want to go to view and, or annotate, sorry, do a spot coordinate, it will tell us in relation to this corner where everything is. So if we were to select this opposite side, it's going to say that that's 6-inch and 6-inch. It doesn't know the elevation because we're just selecting that point. So actually, if you select the second one that we placed, change that to horizontal with no elevations, edit that type, and change that to project base point as well. And now it's telling us it's 6 inches north and 6 inches east of this point here. So we can go ahead and delete these two. So we've done that. And while we're here, let's double click on our slab, on our level 1 slab, and just add some lines for the face of stud here. I'm going to use the pick lines so that we can get to pick that line here. You might have to tab to try to get that face of stud. And then we'll use our trim corner command to trim the corners here. So now we can select all of this corner here, just similar to like what we did when we copied around our little bump out, and do mirror by drawing an axis. Type SM to get the snap midpoint. Get the midpoint of a wall, and we can actually mirror this all around all the corners. So I'm going to select both of these now. So select that corner and that corner, and mirror by drawing an axis. And then do the same thing up here. Hit SM to go snap midpoint. Oops, I don't think I actually got it. So we'll mirror by drawing an axis. SM. And then grabbing that midpoint. And then drawing it all around. So now we can go hit TR or come up here to modify hat. Command tab and hit trim corner. And just kind of trim our slab around this little bump out that we made. Make sure we've done that on all corners. And let's do it on this bump out here at the bottom. Pick line again, get that interior face of stud line. And actually I'm going to stop right there for this outside face, what I'm going to do is, instead of making the slab come out for this bump out, I'm going to have it come all the way across here. And then I think I deleted when I trimmed that line that continues, so I'm just going to add that line back, make sure it's trimmed. And now our slab is all the way around here. So it's coming into our bump outs. Our wall is sitting on the slab, and then it's out here. At all the corners. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and save that. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to open up a second session of Revit. So if you actually middle mouse, click on the tab that's open at the bottom, it will open up a second session of Revit. Hopefully your computers can handle this. If not, just close the Revit that we just made. The second section of Revit I'm doing so that I can create a new file and then load our architectural Revit model. We're going to start working on our structural model now. So I got our model loading up here. And then I'm just going to go to new. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a new file, and then we're going to save over the top of that structural file we already made. So hopefully you haven't made any changes. I don't think we've done anything to that Revit model other than create it. So you can go to Revit models, templates, and then use that base architectural template that we started with. Hit open, hit OK. And now we're going to have our new Revit project. The reason I'm doing this is because in the structural model, I had messed around with some things, and I just want to make sure we're starting with a new Revit structural model, so that everything is set up correctly. So let's go to our site plan. Then up on the Insert tab, we're going to link a Revit model. So go ahead and click that. And then what you'll want to do is browse out to your Revit model location where you have your architectural model that we just rotated. As you can see, I've got another Revit model that is kind of like my working model. So when I'm preparing for lectures, so we don't need to worry about that. But I want to use the model that we were working on, and we're going to link it into our structural model. So select your Revit model, and then make sure that it should already be set to internal origin to internal origin. That should be default. So we'll just leave that set and then hit open. And then if you zoom out, you can see the Revit model. And as you can notice, it actually imported it in rotated counterclockwise 90 degrees like we just did. And so what we're going to want to do is we want our structural model to be set so that it is using the same coordinates and site and survey point location. And you can do that by going to Manage tab and Coordinates, and then Acquire Coordinates. Then pick the Revit model that you want to acquire the coordinates from, and then hit Close. And as you can see, so this is the project base point and the survey point from the model we just created, and now it moved our survey point to the same location that it did for our linked model. Now the next thing we'll do is we'll select our project base point. And see, it changed the angle to true north, but we want to move this base point, this project base point, to the same location that it is on our architectural model. So if you just grab that and hit move, we can move it over here. And then you can see it's that 115 or the 1515 feet and the negative 206 feet from survey point. And it's now at the same location that it is in our architectural model. And then we'll come up here and hit pin. And we'll pin that there just so we can't move it. And you can see our linked model has the site topography. It has our wall. It even has those reference planes that we just drew. So the next thing we're going to do, we can close our site plan and we can go to our level 1 plan. As you can see, it's not here because our project is going to be, 10 feet up. So, but before we do that, let's just check our project base point and let's unpin it. So one last thing I forgot is we want our project base point to be 10 feet, similar to our architectural model. So it's at the same coordinates, and then we want our project elevation to be 10 feet. So the next thing we'll want to do is we'll come down here, grab our elevations, and we'll move them over to our structural model here. So we can grab this. You can see our base point is pinned, so we don't have to worry about moving that. And we'll move our elevations out here. Just make sure. Yep, didn't move it. Didn't change anything. Let's go to our south elevation, which this is technically not our south elevation anymore, because if we go and click our 3D view, let's toggle our views. This south elevation is actually now our west elevation. You can see here, the top view, we are looking at our south elevation. This is actually our west elevation now. So let's go to that south/west elevation. And let's turn on our crop view on the properties palette. Crop region visible. And let's make it so that the crop view is tight on our elevation here. Okay, so what we're going to do is let's go to our north elevation so we can see all of our views. Here are the views that are from our original model, from the structure model. Let's delete the level 1 view. And we'll rename this to level 0. And yes. Now we'll copy monitor all of these. We'll go to manage, collaborate, I'm sorry. Go to copy monitor, select the link, select this Revit link, hit copy, select multiple, and we're going to select all these levels, window over these levels for the architectural model. Hit finish. Come up here to copy monitor on the top of the tab here, and then hit finish again. And now what it's done is it's copied the levels from our architecture model, so they'll be live in our structural model. You can see here, here's the ones from the link, and then now it's copied in these ones. I'm going to delete this level 0 because we don't have that in our architectural model. And so we can go to our north elevation here, turn on our crop view, crop region visible, resize it here. And then we can have all of our levels here. So the next thing we'll do is go to our View tab, select Plan Views, and then let's create our level 1 through roof floor plans. And so now we have all our floor plans. Our project base point is here. And then now we've got our view, our architectural model linked into our structural view. Next video, we'll go over kind of creating some content in our architecture, in our structural model that will then link back into our architectural model. Let me know if you have any questions, and thanks for watching.